I'd like to officially start this meeting at 7 p.m. So we'll first start off with roll call.
Okay. Is Youth Commissioner Aragno here?
Here.
Youth Commissioner Bender?
Here.
Youth Commissioner Chu? Youth Commissioner Ng?
Here.
Youth Commissioner Garcia? Youth Commissioner Ada He?
Here.
Youth Commissioner Carmen He?
Here.
Youth Commissioner Hune?
Here.
Youth Commissioner Ma Murray? Youth
Here.
Commissioner Dhruv Katamuri?
Here.
Youth Commissioner Kim?
Here.
Youth Commissioner Kazarli?
Here.
Youth Commissioner Lister?
Here.
And then Youth Commissioner Wolf.
Here.
I believe
Yeah.
Simone and Amelia both joined.
Emily, you want to just call their names again one more time?
Like everyone else, or
No, just the ones that weren't here right when you said them.
okay. Is Youth Commissioner Garcia here?
Here.
And is Youth Commissioner Chu here?
Here.
Awesome.
All right, now we'll move on to the approval of the minutes of January 11th. I motion to approve the minutes.
I second.
Who seconded the minutes?
Caitlin Bender.
And then we'll need to do the roll call voting.
Right, just say aye when I call your name. Youth Commissioner Aragno,
Aye.
Youth Commissioner Bender,
Aye.
Youth Commissioner Chu,
Aye.
Youth Commissioner Ng,
Aye.
Commissioner Garcia,
Aye.
Youth Commissioner Ada He,
Aye.
Commissioner Carmen He,
Aye.
Commissioner Hune,
Aye.
Youth Commissioner Ma Katamuri,
Aye.
Youth Commissioner Dhruv Katamuri,
Aye.
Youth Com-
Who is that, Emily?
I think she froze, but I believe it's going to be
Oh.
Kazarli next.
Can you guys hear me? Sorry. Like my connection said it was unstable.
Yeah, you're good now.
No worries,
Okay.
we got you.
Okay. Commissioner Kazarli,
Aye.
Youth Commissioner Lister,
Aye.
and then Youth Commissioner Wolf.
Aye.
All right, now we'll go into oral requests, which appear to be none. So any announcements? No. All right, cool. So now to old business. So Youth Commission work plan and subcommittee developments. First up, college and beyond.
So we had a subcommittee meeting to talk about the job fair. And then we've decided we're going to either format it with like an online document or like just an online slideshow that we can put up on the city's website. And then we were thinking about having businesses just send videos in and then putting it out on the slides and things, and with links that students could click into to visit their sites and see the opportunities. And I've found like one business so far that's still hiring, and they've kind of asked and they said they would be willing to participate. So yeah.
Any questions from the commissioners or comments? Are there any public comments?
Oh, sorry, I mismuted. I meant to ask a question. Um,
Okay.
what kind of timeline are you guys thinking of, or time you'd like to have the virtual job fair going?
We were thinking if we could get the business in time, we could have it up by the end of February and just like leave it out until June.
Okay, so end of February kind of goal. All right, sounds good. Okay. And you guys are thinking that you don't want to do a Zoom like event for it or anything like that?
Yeah, I think we decided against that.
Okay. All right, sounds good.
Yeah, main reason being everybody's on Zoom anyway, so like having another event on Zoom just doesn't seem, at the end, just really looking into the whole generation of interest. I don't think you'd get that much in terms of just being on Zoom. So that's like the kind of thought process behind it.
Cool, thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the commissioners? Any public comments?
No.
All right, next, academics.
So we had a very productive Zoom meeting, and we have planned 2 events, one very thoroughly because we plan to have it on February 15th. It is a President's Day themed Kahoot from 3 to 3:30 in the afternoon. And we're making a Kahoot, I guess, and adding questions about the founding fathers, President's Day sort of things. And we're thinking of maybe, if it's allowed, making it like giving like a money and like a Amazon gift card as a prize, but we haven't really. But I guess we'll probably talk to Julie about that a little bit later. And then our other event is on March 2nd, the Read Across the World Day, and we're going to host a Zoom meeting at 7 p.m. For a read aloud with separate breakout rooms for each grade level. Well, yeah, and so that it's sort of like a good night story because like remember like when we were all in elementary school and like it would always be pajama day and we get to go and then we get then like someone would come in and read a book to us like that sort of thing because yeah, so that's what we're doing so far.
Sounds cool. Any other comments or questions from the commissioners?
What kind of age group are you looking for the Kahoot?
Oh, I believe elementary aged.
Can I comment on that? I had the document up a little bit earlier, and we decided it's geared toward 4th through 6th graders.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think like that's a good group because they'll probably be more educated on presidents at that time. I mean, I remember learning stuff. I mean, I don't remember it now, but I remember learning stuff. So I think that's a good age group. Any other questions or comments from the commissioners? Any public comments?
No public comments.
All right, so Civic Engagement Subcommittee.
Yeah, so we had a subcommittee meeting last week, and so we decided that we're going to have coffee and politics on April 21st at 5 p.m. And so it'll be an hour to an hour and a half long. And so we were thinking about having a Zoom, and since people can move themselves into breakout rooms now, we were thinking of having commissioners that rotate through to make sure that no like politician is alone. But then people can also join to like ask questions and things. And so we're aiming to have a list of politicians by the end of January and then contact them in February. So that's what we have.
Any other questions or comments? Or are there any questions and comments from the commissioners?
Just want to say thanks for planning ahead on that one. That's going to be a good one to give yourself lots of time. I do still kind of worry, I guess, about the empty breakout rooms, like we talked about with the job fair.
We were talking about maybe contacting some of the other commissions and seeing if they would be interested. And we have like 2 or 3 commissioners, and then we rotate through the rooms like every 15 minutes. So it doesn't look like we're there to like fill space, but it makes sure that nobody's alone.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that idea. I think, yeah. Go ahead, Drew.
I was gonna say, like, if we have other, like, if we make it like a partnered commission kind of thing, we could generate more interest from other students other people in the different cities, and then that too could also reach out to more people as a result. So that could be like a plus side. Any other questions or comments from the commissioners? Any public comments?
No.
All right, Environment Subcommittee.
Okay, so over the last week we had a subcommittee meeting and then we discussed our Jeopardy event. We finalized the categories and then we set the date for 2-26. So we'd have more time to prepare and get advertising out. And then we should have the advertising to you before the end of the month. But that's all.
And what kind of age group are you guys leaning towards for that event?
Oh, right. We established that it'd be for 3rd to 5th graders.
Okay.
And their families.
Great.
Are there any questions or comments from the commissioners? Are there any public comments?
No public comments.
All right, so now Wellness Subcommittee.
We currently have no new developments.
Do you think you could?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Drew.
I was going to ask you, like, they could reiterate like their old plan, or could they have nothing new? So everybody can stay fresh.
Yeah, we were planning on writing letters to seniors, and I think we are sending out those emails and awaiting responses.
Awesome.
Sounds good. Are there any questions or comments from the commissioners?
When would you be planning on writing the letters again?
We're not really sure. Probably sometime mid-February, we're thinking.
Any other questions or comments?
If you guys would like, I can check in with the senior center at the community center and see if the people in charge there would be interested in giving mailing addresses for their seniors, so that if you wanted to send cards to them, that could be an option.
That sounds really useful. We can talk about that later in a separate Zoom meeting just for the wellness committee, but I will get back to you on that.
Sounds good.
Any public comments?
No comments.
All right, recreation.
Okay, so we still have our Valentine's Day like craft box on Saturday, February 13th. And we also planned a new event for a minimalist cake decoration challenge. There will be a live stream at the end hosted by me and Amelie, and the date will be February 15th to February 20th. And the time will be determined on the live stream on the 20th. And then we also want to do a chalk art event, and like a winner could get a gift card, same with like the minimalist cake decor. And then we want to do a drive-in movie in April or May. It just depends on the COVID restrictions.
All right, you guys had some good planning. Can you tell me more about the cake decorating contest, kind of how that's going to go? More details on that one?
We will have like people put on their story and tag Campbell Youth Commission so we could see it. And then the recreation team will pick who is our favorite. And then on the live stream, we'll just be decorating cakes and just having fun.
Fun. Nice.
Are there any other comments or questions from the commissioners? Are there any public comments?
No public comments.
All right, now social justice.
Okay, so far, Social Justice has planned one event for February, and it's going to be a celebration of Black History Month, but it's not a speaker series. It's basically a place where people can bring in poetry, music, speeches, like academic articles, anything from Black creators, Black artists, Black politicians to share. So like more low key. The date that we've tentatively scheduled it for is February 26th, and from starting at 3:30, so 3:30 to 4:30, but we're not like 100% sure on all that, and that's the general plan.
How did the poster making event go?
We didn't have a ton of people who showed up. Oh, also, we need to send you our posters. We have not done that. Yeah, okay. We'll definitely, okay, we need to remember to do that next meeting. Like, we didn't have a ton of people. It was actually kind of fun because for some reason, like a lot of the people that showed up, we knew, like probably because not very many people showed up, so just people we knew showed up, but yeah.
Yeah, adding on to what Lily said, I really enjoyed it because it was like a small, intimate discussion on like feminism. And also, I thought it was really fun to get to do like art with people, even like virtually.
Nice. Yeah, I'd love to see, even if it's just the posters that you guys made, I'd love to see pictures of those so we can kind of share them to show off the event.
I did send out an email actually to the people who were on the like RSVP list and said, if you would like to share pictures with us, you can send it to us. But I can also I took a couple of pictures of the ones that my sister and I made, and I can send that to you also.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Any other questions or comments? Any public comments?
Actually, I've got a question. We also want to schedule something in March for like Women's History Month and that type of thing. And we could always do a speaker series, but I was wondering if anyone else has any suggestions because we weren't sure. Like we haven't thought of very many other options.
That's a good question. Sorry, go ahead, Emily.
Is it just like options in general for Women's Month, or?
Yeah, like any type of event or anything.
You could maybe have like a feminism talk, like someone who like is directing feminist groups, and like bring them in to just talk about it and also educate women about it. I feel like it could probably be open to also males and anyone really to listen to it, not just women. I think that's a good idea. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it'd be really interesting if like you did like maybe like a speaker series or whatever and like explored deeply about like how corona has like affected women, especially.
I have another idea. So maybe we could do a women's history photo gallery, because like just women's history through the ages kind of celebrate the feminist movement or something.
I had a quick question, Lily, for your can you like the new event you have, like that poetry one? Like, what kind of poetry? Like, what's the main idea? Sorry, just like.
Yeah, so it's not only poetry, it's any like works created by Black authors, Black artists, Black public figures, Black politicians. So it includes excerpts of speeches, academic journals, paintings, songs, poetry, prose, anything that like you really appreciate like from any Black creator. And we just wanted to celebrate like all of the different like collective works.
Sounds good. Are there any other questions or comments from the commissioners?
For the Women's History Month, or even Black History Month too, I think it'd be kind of a nice idea to do almost like a weekly Instagram post that they could each be formatted the same way, and it could be always posted on like Monday or Friday or something, and it just gave people more information on something that maybe they don't know about, that's easily shareable on Instagram. And I think that could be a nice way to just inform the public on more topics like this that maybe they didn't have time to go to a Zoom event about it, but if they were able to read a little expert on Instagram or something, that could help spread information.
So I like your idea, Julie, and something that we could do on Instagram too is like on like the Instagram stories, put like a quiz kind of thing, so it can be an informational and like interactive quiz that you can do on the story.
For a topic, you could always focus on intersectionality and how that affects different people in different ways.
Any other questions or comments? Any public comments?
No public comment.
All right, so that wraps it up for the Youth Commission work plan. Next on the old business is Kindness Week, February 17th to 19th.
Yes, so we talked a little bit about that at our last meeting. And since then, we had a meeting with a few people from Cupertino and Saratoga. And we had Caitlin, Emily, and Simone there from our Youth Commission to be able to talk to represent us. And would one of you three like to kind of talk about what they discussed?
So at the meeting, a brief description was everyone gave in ideas about what could happen in Kindness Week. And a couple of the ideas was writing chalk on the sidewalks, I believe, right, Julie? Did we change that? Okay. And
No,
then,
that was, one of the ideas, doing like kindness messages on the chalk.
and then we also talked about writing cards to people and the food drive, but I don't think that the food drive is happening. So I think what we're doing is we're going to have, I think Julie wrote it in.
Well, those aren't solid plans. Those are just the ideas that they had. But so everything's still an option right now.
Okay, so the food drive, and then we also just discussed what was it, the kindness, the prizes for it, like hydro flasks, gift cards. Yeah, if anyone else wants to add anything that I forgot, feel free.
Yeah, and then we were discussing about maybe like doing promo on Monday, like either in a video or like chalk messages that we post online. And then the actual like kindness week would be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is what we were talking about. And also we were talking about doing like self-care kindness day kind of thing on social media. And I think we're thinking about doing that like the whole week, and you can just sort of post it whenever, I think. Yeah.
And then we also talked about doing letter writing, like I think either Saratoga or Cupertino suggested something, or there's like an online format where people can submit like nice notes online, and then the commissioners actually like write it into cards, and then we would give them to people like first responders in hospitals as kind of a thank you for everything they've been doing during the pandemic.
Yeah, so these were all just a lot of different ideas that the groups brought together. Everyone kind of had different takes on it a little bit. Yeah, Cupertino wanted to do like where you just submit a nice message online and they write it in the card. Saratoga thought about having like elementary kids write the cards. That could be a little more complicated, but it's possible. We talked about maybe doing the food drive, and then we just got an update from Cupertino today, and they were thinking maybe we shouldn't do the food drive. So there's a lot of options out there. This is all open for discussion still, so I'd like to hear what everyone else kind of thinks, what could be good events to do, what events maybe wouldn't work. I'd like to hear the rest of the group's thoughts. What do you guys think about the food drive? Do you think that's something that is doable? Do you think it'd be something that's successful? Or do you think that might be too much right now?
I think for the food drive, it's a really good idea. But the only problem is we're trying to get all the commissions from Saratoga, Cupertino, and Campbell to come. And to find like just one place to get all that food to, not a lot of people want to drive far, or they just don't want to go because of COVID. So I don't really know about the food drive. I think it's a great idea. I think the purpose of it is great. It's just depending on the people and how to get it to the commissions and give it to other people.
I mean, wouldn't it be possible, like, I think to like address that concern if we like drop it off at each city's community center? Like people come there, put the food there, and then, the different commissions, wherever we plan to send the food, can like take it all, to one big meeting place and then distribute accordingly. That could be one possibility. But then also like, and yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone else agree with that? I know kind of the first plan was to have like one central location for everyone to drop off at, but I know several people have kind of said that's probably going to be too far. Did other people agree with that? Would it be successful if we had a close location in Campbell?
Yeah, I thought maybe, also if we do 3 different, like one Saratoga, Cupertino, and Campbell that all work together in the end. So that way, I guess no one has to drive really far. And so yeah, I'm not sure if anyone said that yet. I kind of zoned out for a quick sec, but yeah.
I mean, to be quite honest, like if they propose an idea of intersection between the 3 cities, I've biked between the 3 cities in one day, and literally it's a railroad track. So I don't think, having one meeting place for all of us to go would work. I think it works best if each city has their own respective drop-off spot, and then coming together for the big haul. I think that's like the best plan for the food drive because, like you guys said before, it is a very good idea. Also, like very much needed for like because poverty rate has increased drastically since the vid hit. So I think that works.
All right. Then how do we feel about the thank you cards kind of idea? Was it something you think you'd want to push other people just to write your own thank you cards? Or do you think having an online form for them to fill out quickly would be better? Or no options do you think would really be?
What was the plan for the thank you cards? Like, what was the thought process behind it?
Your dog's going crazy, Drew. The plan was just to, somehow, encourage people to write thank you cards to first responders or teachers or, anyone you think could use a thank you card. So, like I said, Cupertino thought about making an online form that people could just type in the message and then they themselves would write out the messages on a card and deliver them. That way there's less crossing of cards and people too. But Saratoga really wants to partner with their schools and get like elementary kids to kind of write the thank you cards and then they'll take the cards and deliver them from like the youth. So those are just two ideas.
I think with the thank you cards, really it's going to come down to the focus groups or population you're going to look at because I think, elementary school kids, it'd be a lot easier to like get them interested in actually doing that kind of project compared to, having an option for high schoolers and middle schoolers to kind of do it, if that makes sense. Because like if they had an option, high schools would just like not really do anything. I mean, of course, like there would be like a small handful of doing it, but if you were to propose it like as an activity for elementary schoolers, for the like, hey, let's write thank you cards to the local fire department, right? I think that garner more interest rather than like, let's write thank you cards to be shared for somebody else. So I think that'd be like the main thing. So, if we're focusing on elementary schoolers, I think that's like the right way to go because it'd be easier for them to actually kind of be more interested in like doing a little bit of arts and crafts at the same time, drawing, write little messages, stuff like that.
I definitely agree with that, Drew. I think that like elementary schoolers, I think it's like cuter if they do like nice handwritten cards. But Julie, do you know if like elementary schools in Campbell would be willing to like take that on as a project? Because I know that like it's kind of like it's asking them a request. I don't know if they'd be willing to do that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that idea. And I do think it would be a bit of a challenge to find an elementary school that could do that, or a class, or we don't have any initially strong connections with any classes or elementary schools right now. So it would be a little difficult to kind of get that going.
I could potentially ask at elementary school. So Forest Hill is literally like a 2-minute walk from my house. I mean, I walk by it every day when I walk my dog. So I could potentially go and see, because I don't know who the principal is right now, or if any of my old teachers are there to reach out. But I could stop by and see who I can talk to and just ask and like see. I'll probably have to be fitted out in all my Campbell Youth Commission, like, merch and stuff, but I could potentially ask if we do decide or think it's a good idea to at least ask around. So
yeah, I definitely have contact information of all the elementary schools, so I can ask around and we can see. Yeah, it would just be an extra thing compared to like the online form would be kind of a simpler, more direct idea. But we're totally open to whatever options you guys think could work.
I have a quick question, actually. I think one thing that could work, what elementary school did everybody go to? If that's okay with me asking. Because like if we have a couple people here who went to like the same elementary school, for example, they can be like sending an email like, hey, we like not graduate, but we left your school like this many years ago, and like we're just thinking about you guys for this fun activity. One, you could promote the Campbell Youth Commission. Two, you could promote the event. And then three, you're also reconnecting with that school. So in case any future events happen, we have that direct line of contact and like alumni essentially, on there.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good idea. Another idea that just came to mind, if you want it to be focused more on like teachers, we can say, I know you guys kind of talked about like a big thank you poster for the schools. If we wanted to focus more on teachers, we can have a form online saying, what school do you go to? What teacher do you want to thank? What's your thank you message to that teacher or something? You get a bunch of messages, and then we all make big posters for the schools with those messages written on them to give to the schools. Just another totally different idea, because we're really open to all options right now.
Would that
We
be
could do that.
for? Sorry.
Yeah, we could do that for the elementary schools or the high schools or whatever school you guys want to focus on.
Another idea would be to do Instagram shout outs. Like, we have people fill out a form and post something on Instagram and tag the recipient, but not everybody has an Instagram account. So if we're tagging adults, I think that'd be the one thing. If we're tagging somebody that doesn't have an account, then that might be the one issue with that idea.
I like that idea. That's a good one. Any other ideas for kind of the thank you card or thank you note topic?
Maybe local businesses. I mean, downtown Campbell is like, still going strong and stuff like that. So, maybe we could like create like flyers. Doesn't have to be direct. Like it could be like unique to each business, or like, a general one that we could like kind of put on each of their doors or something, or like mail it to them. Kind of be like, thank you so much for, keeping Campbell, whatever. And like, and we're still in respective cities, of course. It's a joint activity or idea, but that could be something too, because like you have your teachers, you have first aid responders, you could reach out to local hospitals too, because they've been doing a lot of stuff. So just options.
No, that's a really good option. I like that too.
I think
Sorry, go ahead, Emily.
I feel so bad. I keep interrupting you.
We keep just talking at the same time.
For the shout out things, maybe it could be also like shouting out people that you know of your own, but maybe in your commission, like shout out someone from your commission, what you think they've done well, and kind of like post on the youth commission website, or not website, but Instagram. Sorry. I think that's nice.
Yeah, I think that'd be really nice. These are all really good ideas. We're gonna be meeting with the other cities again on Thursday, so we will bring some of these ideas to them and see what they discussed as well, and we'll keep you all updated on what comes of that.
Are there any other questions or comments? Or ideas? Any public comments?
No public comments.
All right, third thing on old business, the job fair.
All right, raise your hand if you were able to find a job opening in Campbell. Okay, Most people. Oh, nice. Okay, awesome. We have most people. So that's good. There's still some options out there. I made a sheet in our Google Drive for us to all just input the information into one area. So if you guys if you found something, please input the information here, just kind of the basic information, job, who it's for, and a link to whatever the application is or kind of where you found the information. And please let me know who input it so I know. I'd like to get something from everybody. I think I'd like to have that by Friday, if that's fair to everybody, seems doable. And if you did not find something yet, reach out to me and we'll see if I can help you find something, or we can look into other options. Okay. Does everyone go with that?
Yeah, and then of course you will send like your Slack message between now and Friday just as a reminder, correct? Okay, cool. Sounds good. Any other questions or comments from the commissioners? Any public comments?
No public comments.
All right, so new business. Adam B. of the history of housing segregation in Campbell.
Okay.
Right.
Hello, everybody. Do I need to be introduced or anything?
Yeah, if you'd like to introduce yourself, I kind of told them that you'll be here and shared the links that you shared with me. Do you need to be able to share your screen and things?
No, I have not put together visual aids for this. I will just be talking. Hopefully it will still be engaging. So I'll just get started. I've prepared some remarks that, okay, so hello. Thank you so much for having me here. Thank you, Drew, for inviting me. Thank you, Julie, for helping arrange this. I'm Adam Bookbinder. I'm a planning commissioner for the city of Campbell since 2019. I appreciate you taking the time to bring me in. The subject I'll be talking about can be intimidating, but I promise you it's worth the effort. Land use decisions define the shape of our city and are at the center of the country's history of exclusion and discrimination. I'm going to cover a lot, so please feel free to raise questions at the end if you have them and ask me anything you'd like, or send me follow-up questions via Julie. This is a favorite subject of mine. I will happily go into detail. I especially encourage you to ask questions you think are silly or basic. I expect I'll leave something out by accident, and if you're wondering about it, somebody else probably is too. While this is intended to be a strictly factual presentation, any opinions in it are mine alone. I don't speak for the Planning Commission as a whole here or for the city. So a bit about myself. That's my cat. I was born and raised in Willimantic, Connecticut, which was an important place in the 1800s. It was called Thread City. But when I was growing up, the mill had closed and the most prominent industry was literally heroin trafficking. Fortunately, the state university provided tuition waivers if you tested Will, which I did. My interest in computer science coincided with the tech boom. After doing a variety of odd startup jobs in Eastern Connecticut, I settled into the state university library. Because I fixed the Linux driver for dance pads, like in Dance Dance Revolution, I got an out of the blue offer from Google. My wonderful partner gently nudged me to take it, and we moved to New York City, thence here to the Bay Area for her to seek a new career. She runs a nonprofit animation studio focusing on deaf and hard of hearing artists and stories. We moved to Cupertino, then here to Campbell, tempted by then affordable-ish rates at the Franciscan and the incredibly charming downtown. I miss the farmer's market, and I'm happy to have made friends at the Snake and Butterfly. I enjoyed biking, the web serial Worm, watching Drag Race with my partner, and miniature 5-minute how it's made clips on YouTube. So what is the Planning Commission? The Planning Commission, which I got into essentially by asking nicely, and thank you, buddy, by asking nicely and showing up when they had a vacancy, controls land use decisions, many of which are detail-oriented or subtle. We are advisory. The city council appoints us and usually, but not always, approves our recommendations. Historically, cities that don't want to govern themselves contract out all their functions except for planning. See Connor Dougherty's Golden Gates for a primer on this. When you hear people talk about local control, they mean local sovereignty over land use. So what is planning? How does this work in practice? Every city in California is required to have a general plan. Ours was last updated in 2000. Hopefully again in 2021. We started the process in 2016, which contains a housing element, itself updated every 8 years. These are implemented by zoning regulations and our zoning map, which define what you can build where. For example, in most of the city, if you want to buy property and build a home on it, the lot must be at least 6,000 square feet, in some places 10,000, and you can only build a standalone house on it, not a townhouse or a duplex or a small apartment building. This is called single-family zoning. There are many other rules. Its total floor area can only be 45% of the lot size, so 2,700 square feet for the smallest lot. That's called floor area ratio, or FAR. The building can only cover 40% of the lot. The building must be a certain distance from each property line. That's called setbacks. You must have at least one covered and one uncovered parking space. It can't be more than 35 feet high, and so on. Fun fact, I have never lived in a single-family detached house. Let me just move my cat here. Say hello. He's very curious. So I've never lived in a single-family detached house. I've lived in a duplex, a dorm, an accessory dwelling unit that was previously a cowshed, a low-rise walk-up, a fourplex, a loft in a converted mill building, a pre-war New York City apartment building, a courtyard apartment, and a townhouse. So why does planning matter? Well, these rules may seem confusing, overly complex, or even dull, but their purpose even, affects every one of you. These rules determine how many people can live in our city, how many will be condemned to displacement, overcrowding, or homelessness. They determine whether you can walk to your destination or if you must drive. They determine whether you'll be able to afford to live here or you'll have to move far away from your family. They determine what kinds of people we have in our city. They determine who will and will not benefit from the city's opportunities. To the extent that you see growth anywhere in the region, most of it's mandated by the state via the housing element process, which we will likely start next January. If most cities had their way, they would permit little to no new housing, and certainly no affordable housing. In recent years, pressed by the interlocking homelessness, affordability, and eviction crises, the state has gotten much more aggressive in enforcing that process, which up until now was commonly ignored. So when we think about segregation, we think of lynching, we think of Jim Crow, we think of so-called racial covenants, which prevented anyone not white from occupying the plot of land in perpetuity. My own grandparents, for example, had to buy property through a proxy, a so-called straw purchase, due to their ethnicity. And of course, redlining, where majority Black neighborhoods were marked as high risk and unworthy of credit in the 1930s and 1940s. But well after these practices were outlawed, exclusionary neighborhoods maintained that exclusion by banning apartments, by adopting restrictions such as density limits, setbacks, and minimum lot sizes that served to make housing more expensive. For example, in the 1950s, Milpitas prevented integration with a series of administrative moves which on their face had no racial motive, but had the intent and certainly the effect of keeping the city and its opportunities all white. To this day, people of color across the nation are more likely to live in apartments, less likely to own property, and more likely to live in neighborhoods where poverty is concentrated. Campbell was built out starting in the 1950s, and our first general plan is from 1960. There are no HOLC or redlining maps here, and the research on this aspect of our local history is so far thin. However, the city only allows single-family homes on the vast majority of its residential land, mandates minimum lot sizes and other common techniques of exclusionary zoning, provides very little subsidized housing, and requires considerably more discretion and process to develop apartments than single-family homes in the places where they are allowed. The land use design for the city is comparable to one that we know was intended to segregate and exclude. This isn't just history, this is the present. The effect of the city's policy, along with our regional policy, is that home prices, the median sale price here is $1.4 million, and rents, the average rent is $2,400 a month, are unaffordably high. Regionally, measures of school segregation and the concentration of poverty have increased since the 1980s. The 1968 Fair Housing Act, which banned discrimination in housing, was simply worked around. You can keep your neighborhood segregated as long as you don't explicitly use race as a factor. Sometimes the mask slips, as it did when Patricia McCloskey of St. Louis gun couple fame addressed the Republican National Committee as follows. They, the Marxist activists, are not satisfied with spreading the chaos and violence into our communities. They want to abolish the suburbs altogether by ending single-family home zoning. This forced rezoning would bring crime, lawlessness, and low-quality apartments into now thriving suburban neighborhoods, end quote. However, as of 2019, under AB 686, cities in California will be required to affirmatively further fair housing. That is, take proactive measures to right existing segregation when they create their housing elements, as Campbell will start doing soon. These measures will likely involve providing higher density and more affordable housing in exclusionary high opportunity areas. The level of justice implemented will depend on the degree to which people show up and push the city to do the right thing. For example, in January of 2020, Minneapolis enacted a plan called Minneapolis 2040, intended to address segregation and the legacy of racial covenants, which abolished single-family zoning throughout the city. San Jose is currently debating an opportunity zoning proposal which would do something similar. Sunshine Movement is backing zoning reform in Boston, and just last Tuesday, Sacramento City Council voted unanimously to end single-family zoning in the city. This is the language they used. And Pardon me for reading the whole thing, but I think it's worthwhile. One of the reasons why many of Sacramento's higher resource residential neighborhoods remain largely racially segregated is because many of the desirable neighborhoods remain zoned exclusively for single unit homes, a more expensive product type. Past discriminatory practices of racially restrictive covenants and government-sponsored redlining have created barriers to home ownership and intergenerational wealth building for many minority families, and subsequent single-family zoning in high-opportunity neighborhoods has reinforced it. The exclusion of lower-cost housing types like duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes prevent lower-income residents from moving to neighborhoods with the best parks, schools, and other desirable amenities. Allowing a greater array of housing types in Sacramento's residential neighborhoods will help create more equitable and inclusive neighborhoods by addressing the remnant forces of government policies of exclusion and racial segregation." End quote. If you'd like to get involved, researchers inspired by Richard Rothstein run some research programs based on the color of law, where interested citizens can uncover the specifics of how their own city was segregated. And of course, Campbell's own housing element will determine whether or not we do affirmatively further fair housing, among other things. I've sent along information on both of those, which should be included in tonight's packet. Thank you for your time and your interest. Land use is intimately tied to issues of climate change, public health, economic opportunity, friendship and loneliness, the ongoing national political realignment, pretty much every other issue you can think of. I've described just one facet. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. Please feel free to ask anything you'd like.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you so much. That's some great information. What would be, oh, sorry, did someone have a question?
I was just wondering, like, I completely understand and totally agree with all of the, like, fair housing, all that stuff. I'm just wondering, like, are there any points at which, like, you need, like, I'm sure there must be points at which you need regulation for, like, you know, health conditions for people and things like that. Like, I'm just wondering what those conditions would be, like, how extreme, like, do you have any, like, statistics or anything? Because I'm just interested in.
So there's actually a difference between zoning regulations and health and safety regulations. We have building codes that say things like, if your home is over a certain number of stories, you have to have, or your building is over a certain number of stories, you have to have an elevator, or you have to have 2 staircases for fire safety, that sort of thing. That's all building codes. That has nothing to do with zoning restrictions. And as an addition, there are instances if a city does badly enough or engages in certain malfeasance, the state will take away its land use authority, which means that this has never actually happened, but it's called the developer's remedy, that if any developer wants to build a building and they set aside at least 20% of the units for lower income people, they can build it as large and tall as they want. But they still have to adhere to health and safety and building code standards. Does that answer the question?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Where might people find like more information on this, or like, is there a place that people can go to keep up to date, a best place for them to keep up to date with all the things that are going on with this kind of stuff?
That's a great question. The best place to keep up to date with what exactly is going on with Campbell's housing element is just to follow along with what's going on with the Planning Commission. Last I heard, we're starting planning next January, but I'm not certain about that. And given that the process is a lot more rigorous this year than it was 8 years ago, we may start earlier. Currently, the general plan is being reviewed. I think it's going before Planning Commission in February or March, which relates to some of this. I believe Julie should have sent you some links which detail some of the color of law sessions and such. I can see if I can send some links along about how you can follow along with the RENA process. The housing element process is, there is a process that happens every 8 years called Regional Housing Needs Allocation and Regional Housing Needs Assessment. It is how cities produce their housing elements. So if you hear RENA, RHNA, that's what that's talking about.
Okay. Yeah, I think it'd be great to be able to follow along with some of the current happenings and things. And social justice might want to use some of this information, possibly even for next month's event. So we can kind of discuss that more and think about what you guys want to put out too.
Yeah, and of course, if any of you have any follow-up questions that you want sent to me, I'm sure Julie will be happy to forward them.
Definitely. Any other questions for right now? All right. Thank you so much, Adam. Feel free to stick around or log off for the night. Thank you very much for attending our meeting and sharing all that great information.
Thank you very much. I'll hang around and watch the rest of the meeting.
Great.
Thank you so much, Adam. So are there any public comments?
Seeing no public comments.
All right, cool. So next we have the legacy project.
Yes. So let's see. How many of you have participated in the legacy project in the past? If anybody? Not really? Okay. Cool. Well then, I also don't know a whole lot about it because this is my first year, but I found out in the past, Youth Commission usually does a yearly project towards the end of their term that is called the Legacy Project, where they would plant a tree or some kind of community project. So I talked to somebody in Public Works who could help us make this happen this year because it hasn't happened the last couple of years. So he showed me around the community center and showed me a couple projects that we could do. Okay, let's see. So this is the, there's a bunch of rose bushes along the pool at the community center. That this is just a very small section of it, but they need a lot of cleanup. And this would be a big project. There's a few different options, so hear me out. But this would be a very big project. It would be cleaning up the rose bushes, taking all the extra debris. But I think it would be a really rewarding project, and it's something that everyone in the community really loves, the roses, and it would be something really great to come back to and see that you guys, put that work into making that area beautiful. So that is option number one. Option two is planting a tree. This is a little spot here in the dirt where a tree used to be, but it got vandalized and they had to take it out. It got vandalized so bad that they had to take the whole tree out. So it's a spot that is totally ready for a new tree. They would provide, Public Works would provide the tree. We would pretty much just dig the hole, put the tree in, and fill up the hole. And then that would be a tree that is growing there for hopefully lots of years. And you guys could always come back to see that that's the tree that you planted. It's in a really nice, corner of the community center that's a little bit off to the side, which, is kind of very peaceful area out on the side of the field you can see here. So I think that's a really nice spot too. And third option is this tree spot that is kind of right at the front of one of the sides of the community center. You can see where there's other little tree spots there, but this one, they think it died of some kind of disease on the tree, but it's ready for a new tree. So that would be pretty much the same project, digging the hole, putting it in a tree, and filling it up. And that's kind of a cool spot because it's right out front. Lots of people go by there. You would see it very easily all the time. We can do one tree, we can do both trees, we can do the rose garden. These are all options. So what do you guys think about those kind of projects?
What I do know from the legacy project was my first year on the term, they did leading down towards the Campbell Community Center. They had planted trees all along that road and stuff. So I do know they've always had multiple plants involved. is it possible to do all 3 spots? Because like I know we've done like big projects like that, like the first year I was here. So I mean, we could kind of split it up, as we have a lot of people here anyway, so we could probably split it up like that too. Because like I feel like everyone wants to get involved anyway in some kind of way, right? So if we were to do one, in terms of the whole COVID kind of situation, if we were all to do one project, it would like not be too safe, and like only some people could participate. But if we have like 3 different spots, I think that's more. It's like a lot easier to get everybody involved.
Mm-hmm. My initial thought on that is that, especially the Rose project is a pretty big project. That one's already gonna, if we were gonna do the rose bushes, it's probably gonna be broken into like 3 different days, at least. And because I don't think anybody wants to be working in the rose garden for, 8 hours for one day, but maybe you guys do. Let me know if you do. But I figure you'd probably want to break it up into smaller chunks. So a big project like that, we could have, we can have time slots so that only a few people are coming at a time, or we can have day signups so different people come on different days. Yeah, we probably wouldn't want all 15 of you guys there for one project. So that's just my thoughts. I think getting everybody to be on board with kind of a big project like that and the time commitment could also be a little bit tough, but if you guys are interested in doing that, then we could totally make it happen. It's just whatever you guys want to do. So I'd like to hear from like everybody what you think you'd like to do.
Would it be possible to do the tree stuff in like a day? The tree stuff at least, because I don't think that should take too long. But then maybe we could still like if somebody wants to do the tree stuff, if we want to do rose bush, we can figure out like over like a couple weekends, if anything, like a little small increment kind of process, if that's possible. Because I know on the weekdays, especially after school when there is light, it is kind of hard to get people to do stuff or to come like from the commission because we're all probably busy with some after school activity. So I think the weekend, if anything, would be like the best time to get something like this done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that idea, Drew. And I think that like if there's people who would be willing to do like multiple days for the rose bushes, like we can have a group of people for that. And then if people like might not be as interested or like really busy and don't have time for that, they can be like in a group to plant the trees. Because I remember what Drew was talking about when we did we did a planting tree project, I think 2 years ago. And it didn't actually like take that long to plant one tree when it was a team of 3, I think. So it's definitely like a smaller time commitment. So for people who would like prefer that, I think that would be a good option.
Yeah, I think
maybe we should have, maybe we should just have a show of hands for like who would be willing to work on the rose garden like right now so we can see, because if we don't have enough for those, then like we probably wouldn't be able to get it done. Like personally, if we had to choose one or the other, like I think the idea of a tree is really cool, and like some other people said, I don't have a ton of time, so I think we just need to see, are there enough people who want to work on the rose garden consistently?
Yeah, I think if we do all 3, maybe we can do the rose one all in one day, but have time slots. Because I feel like if we started working on it and we waited a week afterward to work on it again, we would like the amount of like leaves would come back to the same spot. Maybe if we were picking them all out, so that would not be fun. I've done enough yard work in my life to know that would not be very happy. But I guess. Yeah, what Lily said too, if we don't have enough people doing it, then we can't have because if only 2 people want to do it, then that's not really going to be that interesting or fun, and it will be probably very time consuming. So yeah.
So Julie, should we do something where like if you're interested in the potential idea of doing the rose garden as a thing, because I feel like everybody is down to the tree, planting for sure. I don't think location matters, or if we could do both, that'd be possible. But should we do raise your hand kind of thing, like the Zoom thing, to kind of get an idea as to who would be at least interested in doing the rose bush right now?
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right, so if you're interested, do the Zoom, raise your hand.
let's see. So this is interest for the roses or for the trees?
For the rose, I think everybody's down to do the trees.
Okay.
Because like it's a shorter amount of time. But like Lily was saying, the rose is going to take some time commitment, a lot more than trees. So that would be a factor.
I mean, I think there's only like around 5, maybe 6 people who don't. So we could break up those people into teams of 3 and do the trees, and everyone else can work on the rose bushes if that's going to take a long time.
Yeah, this is, it's good to see who's interested and that you guys are interested. So I will definitely talk to Public Works some more and get more like detailed breakdown of, you know, I guess how many days, what the process would be exactly. And I can update you guys and we'll figure out the time slots, and yeah, you guys can sign up for what you're available for. And I think that would be great. I think they'll be super excited if you guys want to do all 3, because really it's helping them out too, because these are projects they want to do, but either are busy with lots of other stuff or don't have the staff right now either. So it's a great way for you guys to give back, and also something to look back on in the future years and help out the community. So that sound good with everybody? I will check in on that.
All right. So are there any other questions or comments from the commissioners? Any public comments?
No public comments.
All right. So next on new business, the task force art event.
Yes. So last meeting we talked a little bit, or I announced that there was a task force in Campbell that wants to sponsor more teen events in the community. And since then they had a meeting to kind of talk about their idea of what they'd like to do for their event soon this year. And let's see, Drew was there and Simone. I think it was just you two. Yeah. Do either of you want to talk about what was kind of talked about at that meeting?
Simone, you want to go? I mean, I've been speaking a lot, so I think everyone's hearing your voice.
Sure. Basically, what they talked about was doing like a drive-through art gallery featuring art from like teens. And it was going to be held at in the parking lot of a church. I forget which church specifically. And they're thinking about, and they're thinking about doing like artwork from high schoolers, and maybe like based on like a theme. I think they're thinking about like hope as their theme. And they were also thinking about doing like a gift certificate and like choosing like a winner for the art too. Also, we were thinking about maybe like including West Valley College students in this too. They were at the meeting, and that's all I remember right now.
Yeah, and then we had a call, or Lauren and I had a call with Bob, who's kind of heading this commission and task force and stuff. We had a call with him today, and they are kind of wanting to scale it back a little bit. They want to make just a website that will be solely for the event, and people will submit their art to us and we'll post it on the website, and then have kind of a voting system on the website for people to vote for it through that. And yeah, there will be prizes. There will be, they want to supply the art supplies if you want to be in the contest, but maybe can't get the supplies. They're gonna sponsor anybody who wants to have supplies. Details are all a little bit out there still. They're talking about it more, and it's not just all on us. So yeah, Lily.
Do the participants, I mean, this is a detail, so I don't know if you know, but do the participants have to be residents of Campbell, or can it be from anywhere?
They are mostly focusing on Campbell, yeah, and Campbell kind of teens, so they need to be middle school or high schooler in the Campbell area. Ashley?
Would this be just visual art, or would it also include stuff like poetry?
That's a good question. I think they're mostly thinking visual art, but I can bring the poetry option to their attention.
What if I think the poetry thing, like, because you know how most light drive-throughs, they always have like some sort of like Christmas music playing in the back. What if we had like a certain section where like we had speakers and like, you know, poetry of like students was being read? I mean, that was not, I mean, that was, we were thinking like at the meeting was, I think the thought process was just, you know, not literature art, but just like visual art, but that could be, you know, something else has to do with hope as well. So that could be something we can bring up the next time the task force meets up. So
Yes, I like that idea too. Any other kind of ideas about that? And you might have questions. Ada?
Is there a specific theme for this, or are we just like taking our pieces?
Yes, they've pretty much decided on a theme of, they called it There Is Hope. So any kind of art, yeah, they were thinking visual art mostly, but I'll ask them about other kind of arts. Something that makes you think about hope. Carmen?
Are they doing like different categories for different styles of art?
yeah, they did mention of like having, you know, middle school, high school, like depending on interest or whatever. They did potentially say, like, you know, based off who is interested, and then if there is like, you know, ideas or it's like kind of general, or no, various groups of art, they could probably like spread it all around. They did mention like, you know, making that an option.
Yeah, so this is just kind of an event that's going to be in progress for a little bit, and we'll just continue to keep everyone up to date. And it'll probably be changing a little bit as they keep meeting and talking, because it's with a lot of different groups. So we're not the only ones involved with it. But we will see as it gets closer what else we need to do for it. But for now, just keeping you guys up to date with the ideas.
Are there any questions, comments, or potential ideas from the commissioners? Doesn't seem like it. Are there any public comments?
No public comments.
All right, time to go to some calendar reminders.
Okay, so far what we have on calendar reminders is academics on February 15th is planning a president themed Kahoot from 3 to 3:30. And then on March 2nd, they're also planning Read Across the World at 7 p.m. Civic Engagement is planning on having coffee and politics on April 1st at 5 p.m. Environment is planning on having a Jeopardy game on February 26th. Recreation is planning on having their Valentine's Day craft box on February 13th, and then a cake challenge February 15th to the 20th, and they're still deciding on the time. Social Justice will be having a place where people are for Black History Month. They're planning on having people bring poems and art and music from February 26th from 3:30 to 4:30. Then Kindness Week starts this week, and they're planning on having a meeting this Thursday. Job searching, send a job idea to Julie by Friday. The Legacy Project, we are planning on planting trees and having a rose garden. And then the task force is planning on having a drive-through for the art gallery for high school students and possibly West Valley students. If I missed anything, please let me know. If I miscommunicated your plan, let me know and I can change that right now. Awesome.
All right. I don't think there are any other questions or comments or public comments. So, calendar reminders. Who wants to start us off?
I think we're done with calendar reminders, but how about once
Oh,
around
I
the
meant
table?
once around the table. Oh my, I can't read. Pardon me.
I'm taking the PSAT tomorrow. It'll be the first time I go to school in person in forever, but it's pretty chill because the PSAT doesn't really matter. So yeah.
I'm also taking the PSAT tomorrow at my school, and it'll be the first time I like go back for more than like a materials pickup. Yeah, and then oh gosh, I was gonna say something, I forgot. Oh, thanks. Oh yeah, and I guess it only matters if we want like the National Merit Scholarship or whatever. I'm hoping I can like make the college board stop sending me emails for random colleges I've never heard of. I hope that there's like a box I can take to like undo what I did the first time I took it. Yeah, and I made chocolate cake today instead of doing my bio lab. But I think it's worth it.
I'm also not taking the PSAT tomorrow. I actually have the day off because, seniors rule and stuff like that. So I actually plan to go to the school. There's a park right across to actually ball up with some of my friends. Don't worry, I'm safe. Actually, that's my second update. I got vaccinated, so I'm like the safest 17-year-old you know, but at the same time, also the most dangerous because I'm hoping I mutate and get like superpowers or something because my name would be like Groovy Droovy, that'd be like my superhero name, bro. Like I like pull up, like how Batman you have the theme song. I'll just pull up with like a boom box and stuff with like some like classic grooves and stuff. So that's my plan. Oh, I got the Moderna, so the COVID vaccine. Hurt a lot. I got it because I work for my mom, so it helps to have connections. Just want to say that for anybody looking for jobs, you gotta like get those connections to move in the front of the line because I felt so bad. I pulled up to the hospital, I look around, people were with canes, wheelchairs, and I'm just standing there by myself in my Crocs and shorts and like a hat. People did question me while I was there. I like walked in to get my shot and they're like, "Are you sure you registered?" And then they had to check to make sure. Then they had to call my mom's office to make sure I worked there. So they were really sussed up about it, but I got it. So I'm vibing. Nothing crazy yet, but we'll let you all know if I start twitching or something. But yeah.
This weekend I went crabbing for the first time, and Drew with his superpowers killed the crab from Campbell. No, it was a joke, but it did fall to death, which was sad. But crabbing was fun. But on a good note, got a new Harry Styles poster today, and I screamed about it.
Okay, so I brought up the idea for my family that we should go on like a leisurely bike ride. But so we went on Saturday, and my mom didn't want to go, so I went with my dad and my brother. And if my mom isn't there, it is no longer a leisurely bike ride. It is like a bike, full speed all the way. And so yeah, we biked all the way to Westmont, and we went over the rolling hills and got ice cream. And then we went back away, and if you know the place there, it's got like this really like this divot kind of thing under the bridge. I think a train goes across it or something like that. But it goes under, and like I was going down there, and my brother and my dad were zooming down the whole thing, and they're like, "Don't use your brakes, Caitlin. Don't do that. Just go full speed." And I'm like, I can't. No, I don't want to die. So yeah, so my top speed, but I was also tracking it for PE, so I found out my top speed was 21 miles per hour, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, so not much happened with me. But oh yeah, I have sharp stuff. Sharp sophomore research paper. So that I have some stuff due on Friday, and I haven't started it yet. So I'm gonna be having lots of fun over the next week. Yeah.
Lee's having ASB applications coming out, so I'm trying out for Lee's ASB, and I've been doing their applications so far, and I just hope I get in.
I made cookies yesterday and I got my permit, my driver's permit, so it's exciting. I took it the first time and I failed, but then I did it a second time, even though it was like 6 months later. So I'm glad I finally have it.
I went to the farmer's market on Sunday and they have like a mushroom vendor and I really like mushrooms. So like we just cooked them today and I was eating some and that kind of like made my day because I love mushrooms so much.
Over the weekend, I cat sat for a friend, and so it was nice to see some new cats. Yeah.
Well, now that it's like, I feel like it's officially winter because it's been raining so often. And whenever it's the winter, I just get a lot of nosebleeds. It's like really bad. I get like a nosebleed almost every single day. So I've been trying to drink a lot of water so I don't have to deal with a nosebleed every single day.
I had 2 exams today, one in AP Calculus and then one in AP Physics. But then I feel like I did pretty well on them, and then in the afternoon I just didn't feel like doing homework, so instead I read a book.
I turned 15 and a quarter yesterday, and yes, I celebrate quarter birthdays because honestly, I need more dopamine in life. And my balloon is still up from how long is a year? 3 months ago, and I'm really proud of it because somehow it's still like way up there. It hasn't fallen down at all. But I was kind of looking forward to sucking the helium out of it like 3 months ago, but I guess I'll have to wait.
We got my friend some balloons for her birthday and we dropped them off at her door and then she ended up cutting them open and sucking like the helium out of them. And like when she said one word, we all just started laughing. Like we couldn't keep a straight face and it was really funny.
So, Juve and our dog, like when we first got him, he was like able to fit inside Juve's palm. Now, he's like really heavy. He's 40 pounds. And when we also got him, he had no self-confidence whatsoever. He did not want to play with any other dog. He just wanted to play with humans. But now, in the past couple of weeks, he's been willing to play with dogs way bigger than him and are able to tackle them to the ground and make them do somersaults. And yeah, he's almost fully grown.
I like how Moog thinks the dog is heavy, but just to add on to that, when he was a puppy, I always had to put him in his cage. Okay, even now, he'll sleep in the middle of the floor. I have to carry him from his bed, like from the floor all the way to his bed. All right, so I know how heavy he is. I mean, it's just light work because, I'm just built different and stuff like that. But like, he is a heavy dog. And like another thing, a little Adventures of Percy. He has to wear 3 collars. That dog has no control now. Like we literally have like this red collar, then we have like a slip knot collar, we got a little saddle collar and stuff. He still goes berserk, but it's crazy. But yeah. Oh wait, Julie, what's up? What's up with life?
I was waiting for everybody. Did we hear from Carmen?
Not yet. But I got an much going on. Well, I've been practicing the guitar regularly, so like my fingers hurt a lot, but they're building calluses, so soon it won't anymore. What about you, Julie?
Nice. Well, you guys are doing a lot more exciting things than I am. This weekend, I finally tested my little projector that I bought over the summer and set up a big sheet on my backyard fence and watched Soul outside. And it was really nice. And the movie was really cute. So that was nice before it started raining. So that's all I got to report.
All right, then I like to adjourn this meeting at 8:25 p.m. and remind that the next meeting 2 weeks from now, February 8th.